Hello, Chip GT here, and in the last video, we connected up the full DMD and speaker panel and the Backbox monitor. In this video, we're going to be working the wiring loom and the umbilical that goes down from the Backbox into the main cabinet, connect everything up, and test it. Without any further delay, let's go ahead and coin in and push that start button. Man, that looks good. Before I mounted the playfield monitor, I checked the wood filler that we used a few episodes ago and made sure it was smooth using 250 grit sandpaper. I then applied 2 layers of paint to the areas that needed them and gave it about 7 hours to dry in between each coat. I then used new 2-sided M4 sticky tape to remount the side RGB lighting and mounted the playfield monitor. Sorry I didn't record any of that, but as you can tell, it turned out really nice. Before closing the monitor, I took the opportunity to connect the wiring for the beacon and the knocker solenoid. For the beacon, I cut the car adapter off and plugged the all black wire or ground into the high output port number 5. And the wire that had the white text or positive to the positive port next to port number 1. I don't have a knocker solenoid yet, but the wires are run, and when I choose to install it, probably during the summer series for DOF Links updates, I decided to plug it in, and I plugged the positive into the positive port near port number 6 and the negative into port number 10. Kind of hard to tell from that, but the positive port for 1 through 5 is here, and here was port number 5, and over here there's an extra positive port here, and there's port number 10. From there, we open up the Pinscape software right here. You click on Outputs, and then number 5, we just go on, and the dome light is spinning. This wiring looks like a mess. We're gonna tidy it all up next. I'm using this as kind of a connector that connects the lighting controller from this Ethernet cord. This piece plugs into the lighting controller. It's just your standard Ethernet cord. And then we have 4 channels that come out on one. So on the lighting board itself, this is my teensy. You may have something similar or may have something a little bit different. I'm using these 2 Ethernet ports, and they go in order 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Those are the 8 ports. When it comes out of this particular controller, it'll go into like an Ethernet cord. Now I've cut this way down. So 4 channels. One of these wires, typically it's the white one, is ground, and then the solid color is your channel. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wire this up to this gang board here. So I've got 2 ports that are positive, 2 ports that are negative, and then channels 1, 2, 3, and 4. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to connect the female ends. So green is the channel, and then we have positive and negative for power. So I'm going to hook all these up now. These will connect through the box into the back box. Let's get started. That probably looks more like a mess, but we have channels 1, 2, 3, and 4. I'm gonna go ahead and go to my label maker and we'll make some labels. Now I'm going to connect up the channels down here to the bottom, and then we can tidy everything up. And you can typically look at the bottom here. So green is channel 2, and then brown will be channel 3. I'm not going to hook up a channel 4 right now. It's there in the future if I want to, because right now blue is actually channel 2 and it's going down. But I'm not worried about that right now. I'm just getting these channels in here. These are the channels going up. So we'll do 1, 2, 3, 4. And some of you are probably like, well, why on earth did you do this? Why did you go about making it this complex? And I want to be able to take the monitor out. Like, I want to be able to slide the screen, the main playfield, in and out. And this creates not necessarily a quick disconnect, but in the future I could make a quick disconnect here. Right now I'm just being cheap, but this makes it so that the power and the channels and everything go up, and it's really kind of tight. And then up here inside the cabinet, inside this channel, is where this will sit kind of flat on the roof line and go up to the lighting that's in our umbilical cord. I'm going to go ahead and try to drop this down so you can see that. So my plan is to put it right inside right here. So I'm just using some two-sided sticky tape. I'm going to mount this right here for now. A couple of screws in there to hold it in place. This is output. The rail lights. One right there. That's 2. It's going to go up. This is the daisy chain that carries over the first light, and the strips going down. This is going to be power injection. Power injection here, power injection there, and that does the matrix and the tail end. So let's get these guys soldered up.
With that soldered, it's time to tidy up the wires. As usual, I'm using my favorite clips and my favorite bolts. Links are in the description. As a temporary solution, I put some duct tape where the main monitor is going to slide out just to hold these wires down so that they don't get worn out over time. I then tidied up some of the wires using the clips and found the best place to mount the lighting controller. I drilled a few shallow holes and screwed in some standoffs to mount the PCB of the teensy. I haven't got the plastic wrap yet, but it's on order, so I decided to just tidy up as best as I could and close the box for testing. Okay, so since we added a new monitor, the first thing that we need to do is we need to come in here and reset the displays so that they are correct. We want them all horizontal at the top line. So playfield, full DMD, 3 is the Backbox monitor,
and one is my main computer monitor. So if I go, so now I'll hit apply, and I'm going to go to a different view here so we can verify that everything is set correctly now. So we're going to hit identify. Yep, there we go. Yep. One more time. Yep. Table config file has been set properly, and how we did everything on the DOF config tool for this controller should be fine. We didn't change anything here. We only changed how the ports were assigned on the Teensy. So we shouldn't have to change anything. What we changed before was good to go. So now we can try to run the pinball software and see what happens. So I'm going to go to this view. So this will be a good test. If I can get on the right monitor here. There we go. I'm just going to close that down. This will be a good test to see if everything has been configured properly. So fingers crossed. Okay, so I think my issue that I have and why things are screwed up is I forgot to make monitor number 4, which is my playfield, my main monitor. So I came down here, we hit make as my main. Now, while we're here, we're going to make sure everything is set to 100% because we added a new monitor. We added this one, and I didn't come in here and verify that everything was set properly. So we'll just check, make sure that's 100, make sure this is good to go. And then also, if we want to make sure that our monitors are set up for the way that Terry Red likes having his set up for future pinball. So just real quick, I am going to go into my shared drive where I have some of Terry Red's. I want to say Sonic is one that requires it to be, the monitor has to be set up in a very specific way. Okay, here we are. So I want to make sure that I'm set up for option number 1, which requires the full DMD to be a 16 by 9. So here's an example of several 16 by 9 settings. So I'm just going to move those off to the side, and we will make sure that the DMD monitor is set up for 16 by 9. So right now it is 1366 by 768. So we are set up properly for what we want for 16 by 9. All right, now we are going to reboot the computer, and this should fix my display issues, I believe. So I'm going to stop here, and we'll be right back. All right, now in Tiny Tools, I originally set up my cabinet to be like this, and I forgot that output 2 is actually going down, and output 3 goes up, and then output 4 was going to be for a future expansion. So I have to flip all these toys that are here down here, and the toys here up to here. So I'm going to do that real quick, and I'll come right back. Okay, now I've got this right. Channel 1 starts with the matrix, then goes to the right sideboard from top down, from right to left, comes up from the left side, so from the bottom up and going from left to right. Underglow is a mirror of these, only instead of being 144, it is 62. And we're always starting with GRB. I know these are RGB, but in the microchip, it starts with green, then red, then blue, instead of red, green, blue. And then the same, and then the Backbox glow is going to be from the bottom up, right to left. And then the left is going to be top down, right to left. And then the left speaker is right to left, top down. And then the right speaker is right to left, top down. Now, channel 4 is where I'm going to add in maybe the addressable flashers. But I'm going to hit this up in another video. Just know that that's what the channel 4 output is for. I could also put them in line here between the speakers and between the left box here. I could put all 5 of those right there if I wanted to, but for now my plan is to add them here, and we'll just go from here. So now let's create the file. So we're going to export the cabinet file. And we're gonna come down here. This is my pinball drive. Direct output, config. There it is. So we're gonna save right there. Yes. And that's all we needed to do. I'm gonna save this setup as today's date. That way if I need to, I can come back. And I think that's all we need to do for Tiny Tools. Okay, and that was it. That's what did it for me. I just had to make sure that I had the the playfield set up to the correct monitor by making the playfield the main display. And that made everything work right again. Now, with that being said, there are a couple of issues that I can see. So we are off on our pixel count by 4 somewhere because when we are in the menus, so right now we're kind of in the menus with the speaker panels. When you come into the software, it kind of does a test and everything. So the speaker panel, the left one should be red, and there are 4 pixels not illuminating. The right one should be full blue, and we have 4 pixels of red on the blue side. So that means somewhere in my calculation for the back panel, like the back glow of the back box, my count is off by 4. But that would be great if that was the only issue. So somewhere in that setting file, I kind of goofed up a little bit because the left side of the Backbox glow is not illuminating. So you see the right side there kind of flashing in the background. You guys see that? It only lights up on the right side. It's not lighting up on the left side. So somewhere, there's one way over there. Somewhere I have screwed up one of the settings. Now, checking the underglow to make sure that it has tested successfully. Here's the underglow, and it is doing exactly what I expected and exactly what I hoped it would do. So now I've got to go back and troubleshoot that file. Okay, so I found our issue. I came back into Tiny Tools, and when I set up the Backbox glow, I forgot to change from 36 to 34, because remember in episode 11 or so, I said that we did a miscount and we had to change it to 34. So I changed this one to 34. I changed this one to 34. So that's where our 4 pixels were missing, and that should make it so the speakers are correct now. But now we need to figure out why the left back box isn't working. I wonder if I inject power at the speaker. Okay, so I just did a real quick power injection calculation for this, and I think the reason why that strip is going out is because I did not inject power at the tail end of the lights. So if I inject power at node 142, that should correct the issue. So that's the fix. We got to have power injection at the end of the speaker. So we'll do that now, and that should be the fix. Future Chip GT here, and lo and behold, test number 3, that was not the fix. I should have known that if the speakers were illuminating, that the power injection was not the solution. So this is actually what fixed the problem. So I went in here to the DOF config tool, and it should be combo number 9 on port 25. Rather than going through Tiny Tools, you can come directly into your cabinet.xml file. And I'm going to scroll down here. I was thinking I maybe missed the port assignment, and look at that, wouldn't you know, I did. So the way we got to go about fixing this is first opening this with Notepad. And we're going to come down to the port assignment. We're going to change it from port 1 to port 25. File, save, and that should fix the problem. So let's run some pinball. I think we fixed the problem, because now it's lighting. Wouldn't you look at that? Looks so good. Alright, I'm ready to play some pinball. Well, the Backbox is now working, which is great because it's been a long journey. However, we still have a few outstanding items that we're going to need to cover in later videos. We still have to hook up the audio. We still have a expansion on the top that I want to do. We still have to do the wiring loom and get that ready. We're going to fold the Backbox down, hook up the wiring loom and test it to make sure that it's fitting right, make sure the cables are the right length. But for now, it's working. It's functional. I can't wait to play it. I'm so excited. I hope you guys really enjoyed this. If you learned something, leave me a like, subscribe, share it with your friends to help the channel grow. This pretty much wraps up the Backbox build series, and those outstanding items will be carried over to finishing touches. The next series, we're going to be hopefully doing the artwork, and during the summer, we are going to be doing a Dofflinks extra features and extra toys extravaganza. I've already got them over on the shelf. I'm ready to start working on them. So I hope you enjoyed this series, and we'll be starting the next one as soon as I get some artwork in. For now, thank you everyone for watching. I'll see you in the next one.